Right, so we're going to start with working on the figure and the boat. We'll start with the boat today, and then we'll put the figure after in the boat. So we'll need for that, we're going to need burnt umber, alizarin crimson, white, and eventually for highlighting the boat, we're going to need cadmium red medium. For now, we're just going to play around with these three colors. So I'm not going to squeeze the cadmium red medium yet because I don't want it to dry by the time I'm ready. So we're going to start with the inside of the boat. Let's take burnt umber. And I personally lost some of the lines in there when I was doing the lake. So I put them back, drew them back. And well, just kind of, this is just burnt umber. I'm doing the inside where it's dark. So I'm going to bring it in this way. If you have a picture right next to you, it's good. Like if you have the reference. I'm going to work around the hand. The best way to do this is to work around the hand and the oar, and then just go like this, easier. And then we'll put the slats, wooden slats in. Now there's a lot of white reflection on the boat. We'll put that in after, and it's not going to be just white. I'm going to zoom in on the boat, and then this way it's easier for you to see what's happening. Okay, let's take alizarin crimson now and burnt umber, mix them together. And we're going to put alizarin crimson mixed with burnt umber. On the left part of the left side of the boat, because this is where it's really dark. When I'm doing the painting the boat, I'm going to do the reflection as well at the same time. The left side of the boat looks almost brown. It's so dark. Let it dry a bit. So this is alizarin crimson. This is burnt umber and white. And I'm just working with these three colors now. For now. Now I'm going to take Alizarin Crimson with a bit of burnt umber, not much, just a tiny bit, because the Alizarin Crimson is transparent. It's a transparent color. So when you put it over a surface that is light, it's going to look lighter, or it's going to look light. And if I want some depth, I'm going to add a tiny bit of burnt umber, tiny bit, really not much. That's good. And let's do the reflection. Now the reflection is over green. I'm putting a color over green, and a transparent color over green. So that color, the transparent one, the crimson that I'm putting in here, is going to look darker. There. Okay, good. Now, do you want me to give you some time to do this before I start putting some more work?
Just a minute would be good.
Sure. Okay, now we're going to take burnt umber and we're going to put white in burnt umber. So burnt umber and white. I'm going to make my color a little bit watery, just a bit, not much, just because initial line I'm going to put in here needs to flow easily. So I'm going to start from here. Then take it out this way. And then continue this. Actually, the way I've done it here is wrong. So it has to go kind of straight this way, point this way. And then I'm going to take it. And then we're going to go that way. Sorry, I have to stop for a minute. Okay. Now let's add the slats in the boat. Actually, before we do that, let's take small round brush. And then another line here. It's okay for now. Don't need more than that. I'm going to do the same That's burnt umber and white. And I'm going to go across. Just put a couple. I'm not going to put too many of those slats. And one down here. Like this. I think should be enough. Another one here. And I'll fix at this point, go back, take some burnt umber and adjust my lines. That's good. That's more than enough. We don't need more than that. Okay, I'm going to take my line down. I'm simplifying what I'm seeing from the original. And I'm going to darken my line with burnt umber and white. So I'm taking more burnt umber in, and I'm going to create a line here for the back of this boat, for the left side. Let it dry. And we can put one more line on the right-hand side. It is straight. And just go from here. Right. That looks good. Okay. All I'm going to do right now, I will pause so you can do the same. But what I'm going to do is highlight this part. And this is white and burnt umber, but the ratio of white is more. And I'm going to do this part. Perfect. And then this one here. Oh, let's add a bit of burnt umber in here. There. Perfect. All right. I'm going to pause a bit and then we can continue. Okay. Now let's work on the boat. I have here cadmium red medium. I'm going to pull some cadmium red medium into the alizarin crimson. So I'm making my alizarin crimson a little bit lighter. And I'm going to start where the light is. Okay. This is not going to be enough, but for now, it's good for now. This is good. And I'm going to start pushing this color over to this side with a round brush. and just push it this way. Now, the more I go this to the left, I'm going to start adding a little bit more Alizarin Crimson because it will become darker. Light is coming from this side, so it will hit. The boat is not straight, right? It has kind of a curve, and this curve is going to catch most of the sun. So once it goes in, then you're going to have less sun. Now with this, I can't put white because it turns pink. So I might have to put a bit of cadmium red light. But for now, let's work on this part. So the same thing, I'm going to bring in a bit of this color down, all the way down here. On this side, the right-hand side. Perfect. Okay, let's see. If we take a bit of white and we put it in, well, actually, you know what? That works. Okay, let's do that. Just put a bit of this highlighted, tiny bit of white slowly. Add white slowly. Now, I know in the reference, there is a strong white at the bottom and reflection. So we are going to ignore that strong reflection. And I'll show you in a minute why, because it's distracting. It's fine in the picture, in the reference, in the photograph, but when we're painting, it looks a bit distracting. So I'm just going to ignore that. And what I'm going to do is take more white in my brush, put it in red. Again, slowly, slowly, add your white slowly. So I have enough in here, and I'm just going to do this just a bit. A little bit more white. Clean my brush, pick up this, and just kind of give it a little bit of that sheen. And that's what we're seeing in this white is the shiny part of the boat where the actual light is hitting. Okay. I'm going to do the same. I'm going to take Alizarin Crimson, white, and just on this side, a little bit of that. You see? No, 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 it didn't. It doesn't make any difference. So just push it back. Good. Now, since I have burnt umber, I'm going to take burnt umber and white. I'm going to put some more white on this. Eventually, more white on the pore part. And we are going to push some of it down. But for now, let's just keep it that way. What we can do is take, for now, white and burnt umber. More white and burnt umber, and just kind of push in, give it a kind of a shape. And a bit of movement in the water. So this guy is pushing with the oar through the water. So he's breaking the water. So there's movement.
You didn't paint the oar yet, though. Just the
Yes, I
water.
did. I
Oh,
did.
you in white.
I did. Burnt umber and white.
Okay, sorry.
Burnt umber and white. So I'm letting it dry right now, and I'm going to add a little bit of white in here because there's a strong sun. White and burnt umber, sorry. White and burnt umber. So it's like a strong sun. And there. Sorry, it's just the light is too strong from the camera, but it's not that white in the on the canvas here. So it's less white than what you're seeing. A little bit of white over these ripples of water in certain areas. So I did the first layer. I put the first layer and it's white and burnt umber, lots of white and burnt umber. Now I'm adding a little bit more white in certain areas. So there. While I'm doing this, I'm going to do this part and then I'll pause. This is white and burnt umber, and I'm just going to highlight the white in here a bit. And it's going to be the same. I'm going to glaze my white and burnt umber. There's white and burnt umber in here. If you have a bit of red on your, just kind of a light pink, that's fine. So what we're going to do is, this is the side, this is this right here, what I'm doing here. So I'm going to put, first of all, I'm going to put a little bit of the same kind of wave, or not wave, I'm sorry, white for the water right here, because it doesn't make sense that it's only here. And I'm going to push that in. But remember, it's a glaze, so there's water in there. There's enough water, so when it dries darker. This is what you want. You want this to dry darker right there. It shouldn't be all the same value, all light. This is a nice thing about water. The reflection is sometimes lighter in certain areas, darker in other areas. So it's not the same everywhere. And glazing is the perfect way of showing this beautiful reflection. I'm going to pause a bit and then we'll come back to this. So to show the reflection of the lake, some of the reflection, the light color that's actually coming from the sky on top, the white reflection on the lake here. If you look at your references, you'll see it. And it's this. We're going to use Alizarin Crimson, burnt umber, bit of burnt umber in it to tone it down and make it more earthy, because Alizarin Crimson, if you add white to it, it's going to look too pink. So to tone it down, I'm going to add burnt umber, and I'm going to take white, put it in, and at this point, I have a beautiful earthy red color. Because if I take alizarin, I'm going to do it here, and I put white. Look at the colors, the difference between these two. This is more earthy, and this is very pink. So that's why I'm adding burnt umber in it. So I'm going to take this, and then what I'm going to do is dip my brush in water and make it into a glaze. At this point, I can add a little bit more white, a little bit. There. And I'm going to come here and try to put that color in. Same kind of shape. But because it's a glaze, it's not taking over. It doesn't look too strong. Okay, that's good. Perfect. That's now let's take a tiny bit of white, put it in the same glaze. And I'm going to take it, I'm going to add a bit here. You know, should always, when you're doing glaze, when you're glazing, just be careful, because glaze, because it's wet, it lifts. So the pressure that I'm putting on my brush here, on the brush on the canvas is not strong. I'm not pushing hard. I'm just kind of very soft. It's like using a feather. I'm going to do this. I'm going to wait for it to dry. And what I'm going to do is tone down the red around here, because that's a very strong jump from this color to this. It is a reflection, but this reflection is going to affect the boat too. So if there's a reflection of the sky or any reflection on this boat, that means there's light. And where there's light, then you will have a bit of halo, kind of. Not halo, actually. It's more like color of the boat would be a little bit lighter, tiny bit. Because then now the difference between, especially at the bottom here, actually, mostly, the difference between the jump is not strong. There's not, contrast is not strong. I'm going to take a little bit more of burnt umber, change my brush to a smaller one so I have more control. And then I'll put a reflection of his of his arm and the oar on the boat this way. I'm going to wait for this to dry, this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and glaze it with the color of the boat. So even if I'm putting right now a strong highlight and it might look a bit funny because of the highlight, that's okay. I'm going to glaze this. I'm sorry, it's going to adjust. So this glaze, or this highlight, I should say, is lighter on the sides and darker in here. There's a dark part right there. So it's not all the same value. And the edges are very soft. So I'm going to take a little bit more white, put it in my glaze slowly, and highlight a tiny bit more this edge. Trying with, I should be waiting. I shouldn't do this right now. Technically, if I'm glazing, I should be waiting before I put another layer over the glaze so I don't run into lifting of the color. But okay, that's fine. I'll wait for it to dry. And if I need to go in and glaze after, I'll do that. I'll glaze it. I'll glaze the whole thing, the same color of the boat, to tone it down. Because like I said before, sometimes if you look at something in a photograph, it looks good. But if you try to do it in a painting kind of, you try to paint it, it might not look the same way. So you really have to kind of try to assess if you want to go for it or you don't. If you want to ignore it or if you want to go for it. And sometimes I do that. I remove some details or I add some details because they look better in a painting than in a photograph. So this is when you edit your reference. But this is a glaze. So this glaze, so when I'm looking at it, I'm looking at a glaze that is lighter on the sides and darker in the middle. Now, if you're not doing this, that's fine too. I'm going to take brown at this point, white, just burnt umber and white. And actually, let's darken this burnt umber a bit first. Okay. And I'm going to put the back of his head. This is his hair. And it's darker here. I'll wait for it to dry. If I need to adjust that, I'll adjust it. And the same, you take white and brown and put, his hat is not brown. His hat is maybe, some light green or off-white, but I'm going to use brown. First layer. So this is a brown color, and it's darker here, the left side, and here. By the time I'm done, if I need to change the color, I'll change it. But for now, I'm just putting the color, the shape more than anything. Right now, I'm just trying to figure out the shape. This is the light part. This is where the light is hitting. This is going to define the shape of the hat. Now I can put any color I want in here. And I'm going to take a tiny bit of Alizarin Crimson with burnt umber. And I'm going to put a ribbon here. So when I was painting this, when I'm doing this paint, trying to look at this hat and figure out the shape of this hat, I was looking at shapes. I'm not looking at it as a hat. I'm looking at it as shapes. So I see there's like a little bit of a triangle in this area here, right here, where the highlight is. There's another kind of a little bit of a oval in here, kind of oval in here, and then line. So I'm not really looking at it as a hat. I am looking at it as shapes. So I'm going to enhance the highlight here. Enhance again, highlight here using white. Okay, we need using white and burnt umber, but lots of white in my burnt umber. Side. A little bit on this side. And that's it. I have a perfect hat. Now, I'm gonna go back to his hair, take burnt umber, and I'm going to darken this and adjust the hat. Let's take a bit of white in my burnt umber and give the hair a little bit of a light in here on this side. I'll wait for it to dry and then I'll adjust it. I think what we'll do is we'll do the rest next week. So I'll give you time to work on this. Or would you like to continue and finish it today? We just have the arms.
Like to wait till next week.
Okay.
Just because of my tooth, and now I'm starting to feel kind of gross.
Okay. Okay, this is it for this week. Next week we'll work on the hands, the shirt, and we will clean up everything and start a new painting. So this is perfect. I don't think we're starting a new painting next week, but this is we're getting there.